This brings on to Chris Taylor's comment. Rule 1, don't play football in your own penalty area. Well, Mick, this is what we're doing. This is what we want to do. This is what Liam Richardson wants to do. We're not trying to turn into Man City or anything like that. I don't think. But there is a lot more. Do you know when Matt Tiller came in a year ago, and we said, do you know what, he's going to try and potentially progress us into a team that knocks the ball around the back and play a little bit. This is what I thought was going to happen. We do go long. You've got Tom Eaves and John Hull. You're going to go long. You're going to go a bit more direct, but there is a lot more patience around it, and this is going to happen. You're going to make these mistakes, even with the best 3 centre-backs in the world. You're still going to make these mistakes. I don't have a problem with it. I've seen a few people like Chris and others suggesting otherwise, but I'm fine with the way we're playing at the minute in terms of that setup and style. Are you okay with it? Or are you a bit? I don't know. What do you
think? There are times, because I'm a Rotherham United fan, and I've followed Rotherham United for many, 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 many years, that I'm hardwired into thinking, don't fanny about in your own box. It's just, and then you see sort of Revan, Tai and Bramall and Rathbone knocking it about on edge of 18-yard box and then getting away with it regularly, But it comes down to what I've said many, many times about the Championship. Teams are wanting to play like this, but they're wanting to play like it all the time. None of them are good enough to do it all the time. You've got to mix it up. We're good enough to do it some of the time, but nowhere near. Nowhere near to even the levels that some of the others are trying it at. So, I think there's a time and a place. And to be fair, despite the fact that we made a mistake, that when they scored was probably a time and a place to do it. We've got time. Let's knock it about. Let's knock it out from back. But we made a mistake. They've got to learn from these. They've got to learn from these. So the likes of Cafu, Clucas, Rathbone, whoever else was in that midfield need to learn from that. They need to learn that they're going to have to help the defence out when it happens. I don't want to see it all the time. No, absolutely not. But I think, like I said, there is a time and a place, and I think we've got the players to do it. We have sometimes, not all of the time.
Shelley asked, "Are we good enough?" He said he'd feel more confident with Blackett and Humphreys at the back. If to do so, Jack Lee said we can't keep doing route one anymore. Times have changed. If we want to be a championship, we need to play football. John Morell coming off the back of a manager who did insist on doing this way. You have to be careful when you're doing it. Like Birmingham under Wayne Rooney, the defence got so confused when to play out the back, when to go long. Has to be a clear plan. Yeah. And to be fair, Danny, that Liam Richardson, what is it, 8 games in from Liam Richardson now? Is it 7 or 8, something like that?
7.
Is that the first time we've been properly caught doing that? And if you get caught one time in 7 or 8 games, do you know what? I think it's probably working.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Richardson's 7th game, because I know he's had 6 league games, which is 3 undefeated, which isn't too bad. But yeah, this feels like the first time we've been properly caught out, and it is by a team that's sort of used to it, if that makes sense, because we see a lot of teams in the Premier League do it. But just bouncing off John Morell's comment, it seems like Richardson does have a clear plan. Like he's sort of trying to get us to play a similar way to the way he had at Wigan, which is where the wing backs push high and we sort of exploit the space, whether that means passing it around the back and going from there or through the midfield or whatever. And so far, it's made us quite solid at the back. Like we've said this before, that since Richardson's come in, we've looked a lot more solid in that back line. And I think it's because the wing backs are pushed slightly higher up. Whereas this time, like I said, we just got caught out with it, which Richardson experienced at Wigan a fair bit, getting caught out with it. But when Blackett and Humphreys are back, potentially we operate better because Humphreys is an on-the-ball defender. And I think we've missed him massively so far. But to say we've gone from strength to strength with the defence that we've got at the minute, it sort of says to me that when we've got the quote-unquote key defenders back, then it could improve again. Whether that's additions in January or the players coming back from injury. But I like the way Richardson's playing. Even though it wasn't as entertaining as it could have been against Fulham, I still liked it.
We're never going to get bad, were we? We're never going to be
No,
5-5.
it wasn't like nervy football, where
Yeah.
because under Taylor it felt nervy at times,
Mhm.
whereas against Fulham it didn't. It felt like we're trying to hold around, and at times we did, whereas other times, like with the finish for the goal, that just showed the difference in quality, I think.
That's fair. Jack points out we got caught against Leicester as well. We did. You're absolutely right. Interesting. The two teams we got caught against are basically two Premier League teams. Basically, tells you what you might need to know. Chris Ellis says, Matt, what he meant was to play about that by all means. When the opposition player comes close, pass it. Don't try and dribble with it. Yeah, but then Chris is right. He's absolutely right. Don't dribble it across your 18-yard box. But then you've got to have an option, which we've already said is probably Cafu's fault. But he also had essentially the confidence to do it. He's confident in what he's trying to do. So he's confident to try it, which if you've got the confidence without being arrogant, if you do it again, I'm concerned and worried. But he had the confidence to try and do it, and look, it didn't want to do it. That's all you can say. So next time, hopefully, he does better.